I'd like to start my talk by asking you a question. Can you think of one thing that you cannot live without? I'm sure many of you are thinking about your smartphone right now. But your smartphone will not be able to do all the smart things it can do without the tiny materials inside. Materials is the invisible force inside your phone, your laptop, the Wi-Fi, and in fact the solar panels that is powering this building. My name is Lydia. I'm a mother, a teacher, a mentor, an engineer by training, a proud NTU alumni, and now I teach at the School of Material Science and Engineering. Besides teaching, my work focuses on discovering and designing new materials that can convert sunlight into electricity. Now let's come back to materials. If you think about it, throughout the ages, civilization have been characterized by materials, from the Stone Age, the Bronze Age, to the Industrial Revolution. In the Stone Age, remember the Flintstones? The stone tools enabled their survival. In the Bronze Age, bronze tools and farming tools built society. In the Industrial Revolution, tungsten filament lit the first light bulb, and silicon chip, which is inside all your electronic devices, bring us the digital age. Now, throughout these ages, materials have been discovered by intuition, a lot of hard work in the lab, and sometimes a sheer luck. Take Madame Marie Curie, for example, the first woman who ever won a Nobel Prize, and the first person who not only won one Nobel Prize, but two, one in physics and one in chemistry. When investigating a mineral called pitchblende, a rock, she noticed an unusual radiation. So she cracked open this rock and isolated an element called radium, a glowing radioactive element that would earn her Nobel Prize. Marie Curie did not plan to find radium. She followed her intuition and found an element that will change the world. But today, intuition alone is not enough to drive the next breakthrough in innovation. We have real problems, more complex problems that require more complex solutions, and we need it fast. Global warming is real. Sustainability requires a very complex solutions, very ambitious solutions. And all these solutions need material that is better, faster, stronger, and cheaper. So how do we find these materials? That is why in this talk, I'm introducing a new acronym to describe how we approach materials discovery today. The acronym is MIND, which stands for Materials, Intuition, Novelty, and Data-Driven Discovery. What do I mean by this? Let's take these materials that I'm working on, solar materials. Solar cell is used to convert sunlight into electricity. Inside these solar panels, there are dozens of elements, multiple layers. Each of these layers has their own function. One absorbs light, the other one converts light into electrons, electricity, and the other transmits the electricity to power electrical devices. The most commonly used materials for solar panels today is made of silicon, a material discovered in the 1950s by intuition. But silicon has a few problems. One, it is brittle, which means it is easily breakable. So in order to protect silicon, you need to encapsulate with glasses, which is heavy. Do you know how heavy is a 1 meter by 2 meter square of silicon solar panel? It is around 20 to 25 kilograms. It is as heavy as your suitcase when you go traveling. Imagine bringing all these solar panels up the rooftop of your apartment buildings, or transfer this across the islands in Indonesia. It will cost tremendous logistic and tremendous amount of money. The second problem with silicon is its efficiency is quite low. So this means you need to put solar panels in a large area of land to generate enough electricity. In land-scarce Singapore, even if you put solar panels on the rooftop of every rooftop in Singapore, you can only generate less than 5% of the total electricity needed in this country. So clearly, we need new materials, and this brings me to the third part of the framework mind, novelty. So how do we find these novel materials? In the past, I will look at the periodic table, and one by one looking at different elements and different combinations. But there are 118 elements in this periodic table. If you just think about compounds with 2, 3, or 4 elements, there will be 175 million combinations. It will take ages to identify, investigate each and every one of them. Fortunately today, we have a new tools, artificial intelligence. And this is the last part of the framework mind, data-driven discovery. AI can analyze millions of data, identify patterns, and predict which material can be the next best solar cell. Imagine this funnel diagram. Out of the 175 million compounds, AI can predict only 100,000 is thermodynamically stable, which means the materials will not break down at room temperature. Out of this 100,000, only 10,000 can absorb light. And out of this 10,000, less than 1,000 can transport electricity efficiently. So less than 1,000 elements is something we can work with. And this is where humans take over. Because up to now, AI still cannot tell us how a new material can be synthesized, how we can coat one layer of material on top of another. AI still cannot tell us whether we can manufacture a new type of solar materials in a large scale, or AI also cannot tell us whether the solar panel can withstand the extreme temperature in the desert. My team is currently working on not only high efficiency solar cell, but also semi-transparent and flexible solar panels. So in future, we will also have solar panels covering our windows and the side of our building. And solar to electricity is only one part of the story. The other part of the story is converting sunlight into fuel. For example, my team is working on new materials that can use sunlight to convert water into oxygen and hydrogen. The clean hydrogen is the clean fuel that you can use to power your EV. Now, if 100 years ago, Marie Curie could discover radium only by using her intuition, her brilliance, and a notebook, imagine what you can do right now with all the AI and technology at your fingertips. If you don't know anything, you just ask Google. Information is given to you at the fingertip. AI chatbot is for you to brainstorm ideas. And in many parts of the world, boys and girls have equal access to education. So how do you imagine a future lab. This is how I imagine it. This is Shuri, the princess from the Black Panther movie, but she's also the chief scientist of her kingdom. In her lab, AI runs simulation, robotic arms synthesize and make new materials. But at the center of it all is Shuri, curious, creative, courageous, a human mind. But now you must be thinking, if AI and technology can do so many things, will they even replace a human scientist? I would argue the answer is no. Because AI and machine cannot feel the intense heat and humidity outside this building. So AI cannot aspire to have a cooling fabric that cool down your body, or a cooling pan that can cool down your building. Human must come out with the first scientific inquiries. The second thing AI cannot do is to decide what is wrong and what is right. Imagine if you find a new materials, but in order to extract these materials, you need to kill the entire village. Will you do that? Will you let AI decide for you? And this brings me to the final argument of this talk, human mind. If you remember the last illustration, Shuri in her futuristic lab. But Shuri is in control. She's controlling AI and technology to help another human being. And this is how science and humanity should exist in the future. AI and technology should be used by humans to help other human beings live a better life. Because AI and technology are just tools in your hands. It's the same as the stones and the bronze tools that were in the hands of our ancestors. It is still your intuition, your novel ideas, and your ability to use data with purpose that will shape the next technology revolution. So yes, AI can do a lot of things. But AI cannot dream. AI cannot tell what is right and what is wrong. And certainly, AI cannot decide our future. Because your future, my future, and the future of this planet depends on us. And I believe the next breakthrough in innovation, the next breakthrough in materials discovery will come from our mind. Thank you.